So we begin with an Ubuntu machine that we basically perform the installation on. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Hummingbot page, basically open their installation docs, and choose the Linux manual installation steps. Basically, the first step here is we're sort of installing some essential packages like Build Essential with GCC and basically the compiler toolkit that we need in order to compile. At that point, we're now basically running the Miniconda installer, and we follow the default installation steps to do that. So you can see there's some steps here, there's some information that we need to read. We're going to use the default installation location, and then we're going to register the conda command by basically reloading bash here. So that'll happen after we have installed the full Miniconda distribution. That takes a little bit of time. Those are all the packages that are getting installed. And then we're basically done here. So at this stage, we just reload bash and conda should now be available. Now we can clone the Hummingbot repo. So we're going to clone that. It'll take a little bit of time to clone all the files. It's a rather large repository. So we'll wait on that to clone. And basically what we're going to do as soon as it finishes cloning is we're going to install the Hummingbot conda environment. So that's what we're going to do. You can see some of the files in this repo are particularly large. Now a bunch of small files being cloned. But so far all we've done is effectively we've built the Miniconda environment that we're going to be using for Hummingbot. So we'll get the next command ready, which is effectively once we clone it, we're going to do a clean and an install. So we clear the terminal just to make it clear. We're going to go into that directory and run a clean, run an install, and that's effectively going to pull the conda environment for Hummingbot and go through what we need to do to do that compilation. And you can see there's some Python compilation going on here, so this might take a little bit of time to run because they're basically compiling the Python code into C code effectively. So it takes a little bit of time to do that, but effectively that all happens just behind the scenes, so we just really have to wait for that to complete. Effectively what we're going to be doing once this is done, once the compilation is complete, is we're going to be starting Hummingbot and setting a password, getting it all ready, and that will be pretty much everything we need to do. So you can see now that the compilation is done for the packages that are part of the environment. It's now going to fetch everything and extract them. So Python, pandas, all the dependencies that are needed for that environment, and some other dependency libraries like Pigments, OpenBLOS, and NumPy, etc. So fair amount to download here since we're starting from an entirely clean environment. There's a lot of stuff we need to download and build, but this is a one-time deal, and it pretty much is all handled automatically by the Miniconda environment. Okay, now you can see once it's done all that, it tells you the step we take to activate the Hummingbot environment, which is named Hummingbot. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to activate it and then compile the code. Okay, and now you can see it's Pythonizing a bunch of Python files in the Hummingbot connector. There's 138 of them. It's got to compile. It'll go through pretty quickly in doing that. So that compilation step is sort of the last stage that we really need to do in order to begin using Hummingbot and using it to interact with dydx. Okay, And now we're gonna get ready. So basically once this is done, all we have to do is execute the Hummingbot binary. So that'll be kind of the next step here. Okay, the compiling is taking place. We see some deprecation warnings for NumPy. That's nothing to be concerned about, just just a warning effectively. And now looks like we're ready to go. So let's start Hummingbot. And now we're running. So basically we're going to set a password on this screen. So that's what we're doing right here. And we have to re-enter it one more time at this stage. Okay. And now here's the standard UI. If we type help, we can see all the commands and the optional arguments that we can use. So cool. So now we need to collect the variables we need to interact with the dydx exchange. So basically we can do that from the dydx webpage. Go to the developer menu, and you can see that we're supposed to enter the API secret, and that's all on the developer page of dydx. So we want to keep these values handy because we'll need to enter them in order to actually begin interacting with the platform. Okay, and the private key as well. We enter all the values asked, and once we do, you can see it asks for our Ethereum wallet address. We enter that, and now it says you are now connected to dydx Perpetual, so we're connected. We can go ahead and check our balance on the dydx Perpetual protocol, so we say connect. Okay, test the connections. You can see all the different exchanges. dydx Perpetual is there. We can run balance, and you can see there's our balance in the account. Okay, we can basically make a perpetual market making strategy by supplying strategy parameters. So it'll ask us some questions here like how much leverage, what position, how far away from the mid price do you want to place. All these questions you go through, provide values. How often do you want to cancel and replace bids and asks? 5 seconds in this case. The amount of BTC per order. A whole set of strategic options that we can set, all these different parameters. Cool. And then basically we continue answering some of these questions, few more here, and then give a name for the configuration file or use a default. Okay, and now you see it's executing this strategy. And we can actually see on the website how the script is placing and canceling orders automatically. There they go. So interfacing directly with the protocol. We can use custom strategies or pre-built ones. And that's the overview of what we can do with Hummingbot.